Okay, let's take a look at the Uber bee, and by introduction we'll take a quick look at the honeybee if you've never played one before, because the Uber bee is really an outgrowth of the honeybee, and you need to understand it in the first place. The honeybee, 3 knobs, volume, you can figure that out. Drive, it has drive up to about somewhere noon, 1 o'clock, and then depending on the speakers you have, you may not hear anything past 1 or 2 o'clock change. If you have really bright speakers, you'll hear it a little bit. It also affects the compression a hair too. For the most part, the distortion tops out about 1 o'clock. Also, I'm using a Strat with lipsticks, a low output guitar, because one reason the Uber bee was created was because with a low output single coil, you don't have enough output sometimes to get the honeybee to gain much, or not to use the dynamic range of the null setting is about at noon. As far as the EQ, and to add more bottom end, you turn it to the left. That changes the balance of the mids and the lows, and it helps to simulate an amp, a small amp that is been pushed beyond its normal limits. It's starting to distort, it's starting to bloat, as I call it, getting the big bottom end. Right of noon, all the way over here, it lifts the treble some. If you need more treble, you can get it over there. One problem though is you can't do both. You can either have more treble, or you can bloat out the lows and the mids over here, but you can't do both at the same time. Great pedal, has its limitations. That's what the Uber about is. It takes the honeybee into places where a lot of people gave up on it before. It's like, oh, I need more treble, or I need more dirt, or I need to adjust this and that at the same time. So that's what the Uber bee does. Now, if you have your honeybee set this way and that's just fine for you, and you've got enough dirt over here, especially if you're using like a Les Paul and you've got humbuckers that are putting out plenty, this is giving you enough dirt, you don't need any more treble, then you're fine. Your honeybee's great. You don't need the Uber bee. It doesn't do anything that the honeybee doesn't in that respect. But with that in mind, all the way down, it actually gets a little bit cleaner than the honeybee. I shouldn't say it doesn't do anything, but restack the gain a little bit so that all the way down, with the distortion all the way down and the volume all the way up, and the treble all the way up, and this all the way down here, you get this really sweet kind of a honey boost. No distortion, nothing that you would call distortion. It's maybe a little warmth, almost kind of what the C Blue EQ does. It makes it a little warmer. It's not really what you would hear as distinct distortion. Let's bring the treble all the way down. That is like the honeybee. It's actually a little bit less, so that you can get it a little warmer like the old BJF honeybees. Well, there's one sitting right there. Which are slightly bit warmer than the barefoot version, which is like the current BJF version. That's too confusing anyway, but so we'll start with the treble all the way down. The nature control is the same on these two, so set it wherever you would set your honeybee. The dirt comes up fairly quick. Honeybee up here. Oh well, that's not fair. The volume's all the way up. Put the volumes in the same place. Oh, the nature control was, there we go. That's almost apples to apples. Now that's still less dirt, but it's going to jump up too. So we're already past where we already have more dirt than the honeybee will ever put out, and then it goes. Same thing, the dirt control is subtle past about 2 o'clock. Turn it up a little more. It's about twice as saturated as this one. It's not, it's not crazy. Much past that, you might as well get a Dyna Red or an Emerald Green or something like that if you want that much distortion. I'll bring this back down here. So that's about like a regular honeybee. Now we have the treble control. That's just light strumming, and then that can get a little nasty if you want it to. But and I guess the nicest thing about having the separate treble control is you get independently your nature control. You can still control your low end. At your low mid balance over here, then you can dial in by the way, this is an SM57 on a greenback on a 6L6 amp. Nice clear top end, so over here, if you're going to beat on it, you might not want it that much treble, but it's better to have too much treble, obviously. So noon's good. You've got an increase in treble, you've got an increase in distortion, and these two are going to affect each other. If you've got this blown, you're not going to want full treble. But if you've got this all the way back at 9, if you're using humbuckers or whatever, you may want that clear of a treble. guitar's tone control. Dynamic and smoky dirt. Nice. And again, usually if you put this all the way down here, it's really too dark. It starts bloating too much, and unless you like it, dark and grindy like that. But you can use that setting with the treble up. I usually like it somewhere in there. That's the Uber Bee. It'll go from 5 volts to 15 volts, just like the Honeybee. If you want it even looser and smokier, we'll run it down to 7 or even 5 volts. It'll break up easier. If you want it higher and tighter, run it up to 12, 15 volts if you like. All possibilities. It's good to have possibilities, and that's what this is. You have the possibility of more dirt and more treble, and so you can use your nature control even more. And that's the Uber Bee.